And they waited and they waited and they waited, and then finally we got our network up, and they were like, "Whoa, this is kick-ass! How many things have you sold for us?" They're like, "None." So, needless to say, they started to slowly turn our T1s off all over the world.
Mm.
But the potential for it is there to build a true gaming network. Even goes back as far as MK with WaveNet. WaveNet was so they were linking the arcades together with ISDN lines. And at the time the concept was cool, but unfortunately it was too costly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because they were telling the guy who ran the arcade, you got to eat the ISDN bill. And back in those days, it wasn't like here where you played a flat rate and then did whatever you wanted. You paid per packet, whatever data usage you were actually using across it, you paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you go out and you buy a $20,000 game and you're paying, $2,000-$3,000 a month just to have the game there. Well, now how much do you charge the kids to play this game? Because you want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So literally you're spending, $3,000 a month plus you pay $20 for the game. It's going to be a long time before you make $1, on actually buying that piece of equipment. So that's kind of what killed it. But, I think the gaming community as a whole basically has to deal with what they got, at least for now, until, there comes a time where, somebody in the telecommunication world steps up and says, it doesn't matter the code. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you package the data. If you're still putting it through the same size straw, it's still going through the same size straw.
Right.
And that's where the problem is. It's like a funnel. I could pour a gallon in, but only a dribble is going to come out on the other end.
Mm-hmm. And
until you can level everybody out, that's basically what you're going to get. Even if you call into these game spies and they were all these little hubs that were out there. They don't make anything easier for the gamer. They make it easier for the game developer. They just give you the means to communicate. Now I don't know Tekken's netcode. I don't know how their netcode works.
yeah.
I know I've seen how it's how the GUI for it's all set up, but I don't know the handshaking and how does it search out only for people with connections viable to you, or is there a chance you're going to get crap, I got somebody on a 56K modem. That's the part of it I don't really follow with them. I didn't really, to be honest. I bought the game, I liked the game, and then I just time in the day prevents me from actually being able to sit with it. I was telling Will, I literally just sat down and started playing Street Fighter again.
Yeah.
I had it sitting. I downloaded the patch because I was like, well, I might as well update the patch. I literally unwrapped the game 2 days before I started playing Will.
Wow.
It sat wrapped in the wrapping, never opened. Same thing, I got Street Fighter Cross Tekken, only because I opened that one up. I was like, well, I heard there was a patch for this. Let me download that. So I actually took it out of the box just to get the patch.
That's funny. So that's what it takes.
Yeah, so, once I hear a patch, I'm like, oh, let me go get that.
But yo, man, if that's the case, your fundamentals are pretty solid, though, for only 2 days of play, man. It's like,
Well,
I think you're good.
I still got a ways to go. Like I said, it's matchup experience. Like I was telling you when we were playing, I think it comes down to I don't know who does what anymore. I obviously know. Like when you came at me with what's her name, Mikado. She was. I'm like, she didn't exist when I played. I'll tell you that.
I did dig you.
Actually, she did. Didn't she come out in
Third Strike?
Third Strike.
Yeah, she did.
Well, Street Fighter 3 anyway, yeah.
Yo, whatever happened to the kid with the basketball? Is he still in this?
Sean.
No, he's not in this one anymore, nah.
I was going to say, how come they didn't bring him back?
Hopefully Street
Unfortunately
Fighter 5.
Street Fighter 5 needs everyone.
Yeah.
They need an overhaul. That's where like what you were saying earlier about, how people have a tendency to follow the trends. like now how they made the game easy. You know, when Tekken came out, all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, we got to make 3D." Mortal Kombat did 3D, Street Fighter did 3D, and you know, rather than just sit back and go, "Why can't our game just be different from theirs?" They wasted years making EX and Mortal Kombat versus Armageddons and Deadly Alliances, and you know, I mean, certain games can be, you know, the reason why Tekken is a successful 3D game, and same thing with Soul Calibur to a point, up until just recently with Soul Calibur 5, there was no projectiles.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, just imagine like, you know, playing Mortal Kombat and Sub-Zero, Scorpion throws his spear, get over here. I should be, I mean, you should be able to taunt in the game and like give him the finger. Because just sidestep his spear, be like, fuck you, you can't hit me with that no more. We're playing 3D. I don't even have to block it. You know, it took the whole aspect of a zoning game out by being able to sidestep everything. Mm-hmm. You know, same thing with Street Fighter. You know, though I did like that skeleton dude. What the hell was his name?
Oh, Skullomania?
Yeah, I did dig him. He was cool.
He was awesome.
You know, and I stopped playing that. I think, what did they do up to? I think EX2 I did.
They did EX3 for PS2. It was a launch title for PS2.
And how well did that do?
Awful. It was tag. They added like a tag system. So it was almost like a MVC2 3D Street Fighter EX game. It was awful.
Oh, God. No, I'm glad I didn't go back to it. Yeah. I actually got the guy, 9.95 Phil, modding some stuff for me. So hopefully I get some classic stuff. I had an old Xbox sitting around. So, I mean, he's getting repairs and stuff done. And he's doing all that good stuff. So I gave him that. I was like, well, my Wii, I haven't touched my Wii and I don't even know how long. Yeah. So I was like, well, you know what? Time to mod it. Give me every classic game that's out there on it. Here's a hard drive. Make it happen.
I dig it. But yo, man, but getting back to Tekken, though, and like in Soul Calibur for a second, though. I mean, the argument about everything going 3D, I mean, compared to like what was released at the time, Tekken 2, at least, I mean, Tekken 1 was kind of shitty, but I mean, Tekken 2 was like the first archetypal 3D fighter that survives well today. I mean, compared to like Last Bronx, for example, if anyone remembers that game.
Of course, I remember Last Bronx.
Yo, Last Bronx. I mean, that game today. I mean, I admit it. I mean, I love Sega, but that shit is hot garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't age well. I mean, they're just beating each other with full on polygons, is having all the fun. But
Bloody Raw, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Raw was awesome.
Fighting Vipers.
Yeah, Fighting Vipers was.
Toshinden, like early Toshinden was kind of shitty too.
Yeah, that was actually a PS1 release title. I remember that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bought that for the PS1. That was great. Good game.
I was actually at the E3 because when they released, they usually all the companies have like a unspoken rule, like we're not all gonna dick each other over and like sneak release the system. And at that E3, I'll never forget it because everybody, you know, you drove into downtown LA and it had Sony stuff all over the place, and I wound up going to I actually played Michael Jackson in Primal Rage.
That's insane. He's a huge fighting game fan.
They had him perform at their party. And during the party, and it's funny because one of his bodyguards gave me that, like, I think you should let him win. I'm like, fuck out of here. I am not letting Michael Jackson beat me in a fighting game, man. You're out of your mind. And I blew him up pretty bad. And he was like, man, good game, man. And that was it. You know, it was just, that was a quick thing. I didn't, you know, I didn't want to, even though I was without a doubt starstruck, I didn't want to be like, can I get your autograph? You know, I was just happy to know I blew him up.
Yeah, you'll always have that. You blew up Michael Jackson.
But that
I also blew up. You know who else I blew up? Seal.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that why he has a scar on his face?
I left him this. It was my cigar move to him.
Oh, well, what game was that?
Mace.
Oh
Face the Dark Ages.
Wow,
Holy shit, that's going back.
that's definitely going back.
I actually did the strategy guide on that.
Really?
Yeah, that was many moons ago. I did that. You know what else was the strategy guide that I did? That was a fun game that never really caught on, which, it was during the Power Stone era, Guys.
Yo!
Ring. God bless the ring.
So good.
Yeah.
It's funny because Guys is getting this weird kind of cult resurgence. They played it at Next Level like a couple months ago. They did this speedrun charity stream. And since then, there's like a group of kids that compete in Marvel, and they're a clan basically called Guys, and they run a Guys tag. So it's kind of funny that came up.
That's actually kind of cool. I got to crack open my book and see if I can remember some combos.
Oh, man.
I could definitely get back into. I got to remind Phil to put that game on my Xbox. However he mods it and does his magic. All I know is he showed me the thing, and he's got every possible game I ever wanted on, every fighting game that was working fully on an Xbox One. I was like, make it happen, man.
That's awesome.
Funny
But-
story about
Xbox had a lot of solid fighting games.
the first Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of solid fighting games. I had the Guilty Gear series. I had like all the KOFs, even the 3D KOFs, the Maximum Impacts. It had tons of fighters. It was a really strong console.
Yeah, that was my first taste of CVS2 was on Xbox.
Yeah.
What depressed me of KOF, because I was always a Neo Geo guy,
Yo.
and I actually, it was another funny story. I was supposed to tap the vice president of fucking Takara. Takara was the ones that used to do all the conversions of Neo Geo games, and I fucking chickened out like a motherfucker. I kicked myself in the ass for that. But then again, that company's gone now. They're not in the States no more. They're done. So, but I could have been the fucking president of that company and maybe saved it. But I was always big with art of fighting.
Yes.
And then when I got into KOF, last Evo, I was like, yo, I'm gonna bring out and Robert and Mr. Karate. I'm gonna fuck the world up. And then I watched Bala's video, and it's like, yeah, they're like average, mid-tier, maybe low tier. And I'm like, really? Because, it's funny. Fatal Fury was a little bit more heavy execution than Art of Fighting. When they were coming out as individuals. That was like the first one that really started to put, I wouldn't say absolutely heavy execution, but a lot more involved, that those old Sagat's. That's why, like, when I was telling Will, I'm like, how do you do fucking Sagat's Tiger Knee? He's like, oh, no, just an uppercut with a knee. I'm like, what? I'm like, not like down, back, all the way to up, forward, no more, none of that. He's like, no, I was like, whoa. Same thing with King of Fighters. Fatal Fury. I always liked, what was his name? Joe Higashi.
That's my favorite character.
I never liked the brothers. I was like, yo, this windmilling motherfucker and this baseball cap.
No.
I'm like,
yeah, man.
I don't know. It was like, first of all, one of them reminds me of the freaking kid collecting Pokemon. Just an older version. And then the other guy, I don't know, he's like a early version of Smoke from MK9, with his wavy hair. And I'm like, I just never dug them. But
Still heat right now, man. Shit.
But then, like, Bala turns around, and I'm like, all right, you know what? Everybody says this guy Bala is like the KOF god. So let me go see what he says is what. And he starts mentioning these freaking characters. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck? And where the fuck did these guys even come from? I picked some demon dude. I picked some chick that wears red. That does like all grabs. She's like Mikado or whatever. And then I picked some wannabe spiked out Guile looking motherfucker. And he's like, these are the top tier guys. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna now literally. This was Evo was on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This was Wednesday night that I opened the game up. And I'm like, all right, well, first I got to go to work tomorrow, but I got 2 hours tonight. My flight is tomorrow night, so I got like 2 hours before my flight. So literally, I played the game for like 4 or 5 hours with just them, and I was like, I got the hang of the guile-looking dude. I don't know what his name was. He did all this shit,
right?
electricity on the ground.
Oh, Benny Model?
Yeah, that dude.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one, the chick, I should have. I've always hated chicks in fighting games, so I always kind of stay away. But apparently, I should have actually used her because apparently she's pretty OP. So I was like, I'll get along with her. We'll just wing it. I just needed to know what the moves were. And of course, when you pick your team, I'm like, well, shit. Being that this bitch is going to screw me anyway because I don't know what to do I throw it to the wolves right away and hope? Or do I hope magically, like between the day that Evo started and the day I actually had my first match, a bolt of lightning actually hit me and I had just learned all of a sudden combos and use her as my anchor? Well, I made the mistake of using her as the anchor. So when my two guys got blown up, I pretty much just got up and I was like, all right, kick her ass. And the guy just looked at me. And actually, I don't even think the dude spoke English. He just go, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And I go, I don't know any of her moves. He goes, none? I go, I don't know anything. So the guy beats me, and he tells me, he's like, all right, this is one of her moves, and this is one of her moves. I'm like, good. So now I put her at the first, and then I go and I put my other two guys at the second and third, and I beat them.
That's awesome.
And then I get to the next match, which was like right away, blown up. Got put into losers, blown up. After that, I was like, you know what? 1 and 2 for somebody that put 4 hours into the game at Evo, I'm not complaining.
It's pretty damn good.
Yo, look, James. Any day, anytime. Art of Fighting 2, Fated Free Special, King of Fighters 98. Let's rock.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sam Show 2. Let's break this one out one day.
Oh, definitely. Art of Fighting. I mean, I could play Art of Fighting all day. Yeah. Actually, the last one I bought was the anthology. I forgot. Was that for PS2 or 3?
2.
PS2.
The 2. That was the last one I bought of them.
Oh man.
Yeah. The first Art of Fighting is probably one of the more difficult ones to me because, like, your actual projectiles were bars, or they were meters. So it wasn't like a Street Fighter 2 where you could just do infinite fireballs. In Art of Fighting, you had to pick and choose when to use your specials.
Well, you had to do the Fist of the North Star charge up.
Yeah.
And then what was cool was you had your regular fireball, and then you had the double, whatever the hell it was, the full
half circle forward, half circle Hoken.
Down, forward, back, down, forward.
Man, that was my shit back in the day, dude.
Yeah. You know what was funny about that game? Like, there really wasn't too many people on Long Island that played it. And, and then at that time, there was no websites, like, really that, like, cared about it. So, like, you would go to, like, news groups, and all of a sudden somebody must have leaked out at Neo Geo, like you're almost dead, go into berserk mode. Huh. And it was like that. It was that, like, you had to let yourself get to a red health. Yep. And then you would just go in with this thing that would do like 80% damage. And it was one of those like Raging Demon, button.
That was the first X Factor, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was, and you would try it, but like I said, because everything was so heavy execution back then, that like. You're playing, unless you played against somebody that was like, all right, I'll let you just do it to me, which is pretty much usually what wound up happening, because you could never get it out in the game. Mm-hmm. It was one of those, it wasn't a full screen dash at you, so it was kind of like, you had to be, maybe like 8 steps from the person, and you can reach him, but if you were 9, he would stop right in front of him. Mm-hmm. And you were like, and you would never know. You'd be like, shit, 1 step too short. And then you're like, I let all my energy go down the shit on purpose just to get this thing out to impress the other guy I'm playing, and I can't get the goddamn thing out. So after a while, you just learn to say, you know what, I'm not even going to try to do it anymore. And then they even made that easier to do, as you know, once they got into Art of Fighting 2 and 3 and all that, they made it more, you know, still somewhat heavy execution, but a little bit more like you were saying, meat it didn't mean nothing. You could just throw fireballs out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Art of Fighting 3, even just the overall graphics and how smooth the game moved and how interactive the backgrounds are. That's why I always loved SNK as a company, is like their backgrounds. Like I really miss, like in the OKOFs, your team members used to hang out in the back and they would cheer or they point and laugh. Like Joe Higashi would fall on the floor and laugh at you if you lost. And they got rid of that, and I wish that they would go back to the interactive backgrounds.
You know, it's funny because, you know, the wars of systems, you know, everybody breaks PS's balls, but, dude, it does Bluray games, but nobody does them. You know, I mean, you could literally do a game, you know, it used to be back in the day, oh, I'm sorry, I can't fit that in. We only got, you know, 16 megs or 32 megs or 128 megs. I'm like, dude, you got like 12 gigs. You could do whatever you want now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actually, it's 24 gigs on the Blu-ray, I believe.
Yeah, the double stacks. Yeah, the dual area.
So it's like, you know, 24 gigs, dude. You can make a game where, you know, if the guy fucking gets hit in the stomach, he pisses his pants, and you could see it. You know, I mean, which actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it's gotten to the point now where developers are not developing as quick as they can, for the simple fact that the systems are coming out, and I don't want to blame the systems, but their development kits aren't as supportive as they used to be for developers. So, you know, that's why, like, if you look at Nintendo, like, look at the Wii. You know, I mean, we could all say the Wii was cool and all. It was just a GameCube upgraded, you know, and put in a smaller box. But, you know, the titles and the support were the core Nintendo developers.
Yep.
You know, you didn't see how many games did NRS put out for it. You know, they did Armageddon. You know, I mean, that was the one where you could actually paint the fatality on them or something.
Yeah, I actually bought that and tried it again.
I bought it actually. I was in a GameStop, I guess about 3 or 4 months ago, and I saw it there for like $4, and I was like, "Wow, shit, $4! At least they'll have a purpose to it." You know, and even that, I never took it out of the game because I was like, man, I couldn't stand Armageddon.
Yeah, Armageddon wasn't.
The only 3D one I liked was the created character, which I think was Deadly Alliance, or was it
Deception and Deadly Alliance were the two best ones.
Yeah,
I agree.
The created character thing I thought was really cool. More better than what was that? Do you remember the one that was out? There was one that was like, it pretty much was just a created character game.
Well, Fighter Maker?
Yeah, that piece of trash.
Yep.
You know, I was like, yo, I bought that stupid thing, and I'm like, man, I'm going to make a super cyborg ninja with blue eyes and pink eyes, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And then lo and behold, what wound up happening was, it was like, you know, well, you got to learn the Z axis of his elbow and his X axis of his elbow, and I'm like, whoa. Did you just basically put a development kit on it and tell me, here, go make a game, and tell me it's a game?
That's what it was.
I mean, you had
hilarious.
to be a rocket scientist to make a character.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny videos of people who made the most ridiculous characters in Fighter Maker because it's a very complex system to actually make a character.
See, Mortal Kombat was cool. I made a Hasidic Jew. Right. And it was, what was cool about him was he had Sector's teleport punch, then he had Dairu's backdrop, he had Kung Lao's sword that when you ducked and hit it, he did like a spin with the sword low.
Yes.
And then there was this black fireball that went really slow across the screen. So I would throw the black fireball. Now, depending on what you did, I'd either teleport behind you, or I would do the low sword thing and you would just jump onto that, or I would do the backdrop, which would set you shooting forward towards me, get hit by the fireball, and then I would be able to hit with the teleport again. And then at the end, when you beat the guy, well, actually, you were able to name your weapon. So I called my sword the Shalom sword. And when you won, you had a winning saying, and it was "Read the Torah, bitch." And that was, and then people would come and oh, that's a cheap character. I go, yo, I'm a Jew. I'm allowed to be cheap. Come on, man.
That's amazing. I really think I think if the next Mortal Kombat game should incorporate that in some way.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely. If they could put that back in, but you know what? Once again, it's not the developers. You know, it's the big wigs at WB or the big wigs at any of these companies. You know, they want the product, but they want it in their timely manner. You know, you rarely get a company like when it comes to Metal Gear, which I'm hearing nothing but praise about right now. They're given whatever time they need to get it done. You know, there's no, there's obviously a time restraint. I mean, they're not going to give you 50 years to do it, but they're not rushed to a point where, like, with a fighting game, for example, which is odd because you would think a fighting game could come out actually a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
In reality, it doesn't. In reality, it's a lot more involved to do a fighting game. You got a guy that builds an environment for like a game like, I don't know, Call of Duty. You got guys that build the environment, guys that deal with the weapons, guys that deal with the animations, guys that deal with the physics to the the bullets, and that's pretty much it. But now when you talk about a fighting game, every character has to have a certain balance to them. And that's where we go back to what we were saying, unfortunately in the fighting game community, every top player all of a sudden, just because you can play a game does not mean you can make a game. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because, everybody breaks Triforce's balls all the time, but Triforce is right when he says the majority of the fighting game community is uneducated. And, it's kind of sad that, I see players that like have these thoughts, these delusions of grandeur that somehow, Mad Cats and I don't know, Tide and Tampax are going to come and say, yo, we want to sponsor you and we're going to give you millions of dollars to play a video game. And rather than, step back to reality and say, look, you will find it so much more enjoyable if the ego drops, you play your best, enjoy the tournament, get a freaking education, have a backup plan, which should be the gaming, and search out a career. And unfortunately, a lot of these, he says it best because he says, like, a lot of the players in, like, the Capcom community come from the inner cities. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whether they're fatherless or lack of education, the arcades were their hideouts, their getaways, their escapes. Well, those are gone now. So now this has become their arcades and their hangouts. And it's funny because, it's not funny because, people were saying, well, why didn't MLG pick up Capcom and all that, and then there was discussion about money and this and that. Dude, that crowd would be the most embarrassing thing ever. I'm sorry, I love the game and I love the people, but on a marketability side, how can I show Street Fighter matches on TV where every other word is, yo, get that nigga?
Yeah.
It's like you can't. It's not marketable. But now at the same time, you don't want to turn around to those communities and say, "Well, don't be you."
Yeah.
So and that's where they're at is they feel like, they feel like they're getting told, well, don't be you if you tell me not to mouth off and pop off. No, you could. I mean, Corn is. I love the guys in Corn.
Mm-hmm.
But I said the coalition of real nice guys. And it's like but when you say that, it takes away from what it really is, and what it really stands for is a representation of the players.
Right.
So it's like, well, do what, on TV, the coalition of real nice guys, and then, coalition of real niggas is when you're at the tournaments that aren't live. I mean, you got to kind of weigh it, and you know what? Adonis is great. Adonis has put this thing together with these guys, and it's the NWO of the fighting game community.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. I'm actually a member too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But
Corn JamesMK.
Corn, OBS, Corn, JamesMK. Me and Detroit balling.
There you go.
Yes.
They.
Man.
In fact, I got to make sure I put that down when I go to win a brawl.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, it's like it's so hard to balance it all out. And right now, because so many people are concerned about getting a quick buck in their pocket, they're not looking at the big picture. And unfortunately, it's situations like this that inevitably cripple the community. Why isn't MK and MLG no more? Why are there people that actually think that it still has a chance of reappearing there? I mean, I hear people tweeting, "Oh, MLG is going to announce it any day now." Didn't MLG already happen?
Yeah.
And it wasn't there. The CEO for MLG actually tweeted a picture of a shot of the last arena that they used, and it was legal, from the balcony of the arena, of all the setups, and you saw League of Legends, Call of Duty, and StarCraft. You didn't see Mortal Kombat, but yet people still say, "Oh no, they might announce it." And it's like, you don't want to tell people, like, I mean, sometimes you just want to grab them and go, you stupid motherfucker, listen to me. They're not there no more. MK is gone. And they still go, well, maybe. No, there's no maybe. They don't even have a fighting game team there that works there. What part of that do you not understand? It was a good run. It was a good run. People made good money. But the fact of the matter is that it's not going to grow by waiting for some messiah to come and do this. Okay, everybody, I am going to start the World League. It's not going to happen. The community is going to grow because the people in it are going to want it to grow. And Evo, IPL, VXG, all these East Coast guys, Big E, Shin Blanca, Johnny Cage, and Joe, they're going to build the foundation. Well, they're going to build the church, let's say, but we all got to go to the church, or it doesn't get successful. Look at sponsorships. What kind of sponsorships are out there? OBS. I tell people, you're a member of OBS. I ain't your sponsor.
Yeah.
I tell everybody the same thing. I go, it's up to your ass to get to the tournament. Don't do a donation drive. I said that a donation drive is now like such a cliche thing. Like, I can't get to this tournament. Let me just have a donation drive.
Right. Everyone's got a raffle nowadays, and
I'm gonna raffle all my cigarette butts in my ashtray.
It's true. It's so true.
And it's like I go, and I break my co-host Dark Natives. I break his chops because last at NEC he did a donation drive to get down there, but he also his situation was a little different. He was he was hurt at work and he was basically on workman's comp. And he was pretty much getting like 1/10 of what he normally made. It was he was barely even getting by paying rent, and he was like, "Yo, I can't go." And I was breaking his chops, and I'm like, "Dude, it's Philadelphia. It's not like I'm asking you to go to freaking Vegas or California or." And I felt really bad because he did the donation drive, and then the day of the tournament, he's supposed to go. The day before the tournament, he's going to drive down there, and his car blew. He blew his engine in his car at the same time. So I was like, well, now actually it's okay. So he wound up getting down there. But I even kind of said to him, I'm like, look, dude, don't do donations. Right? He said, you know what? I'll never do one again.
Yeah.
Because you feel like a freeloader.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, if you can't get to a tournament, so what? There's so many of them out there. You don't have to go to every tournament to be a dedicated gamer. You can be an online person and contribute to forums and still be a very valid part of the community. Unfortunately, a lot of these communities feel like online guys are ass and offline guys are these higher ups. And no, I mean, look, whether you're an online player or an offline player, a dick is a dick. It don't matter which one. If you're a dick, I don't care if you're an offline or an online one. You're still a dick. Yeah. So I don't care about you. But if you're a person that says, hey, look, I just want to play the game. I want to enjoy it. I want to get better. And I want to have conversations. I want to talk to those top tier players, and I don't want to feel like I'm being talked down to.
Yeah.
Like somebody like Rio is the perfect example. If you go up to Rio and be like, yo, look, I'm trying to get better with Cabal. What do I need to do? He will tell you everything. He will show you. He will demonstrate it. He will do whatever he can to help you. And then you're also going to see, fuck you, make it look easy, Rio. Because I see you telling me in it, and you're showing it to me, but I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the funniest thing I ever saw with him was he was trying to teach me how to do the instant air gas blast. Mm-hmm. Now, I've gotten 2 out on the screen at once.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good. He gets 4.
Wow.
He got it down so pat that I guess there's something in the code that says, technically speaking, there's only supposed to be 3, and the 4th one will just kind of like disappear. But if you move into it, it's still gonna hit you.
Oh God!
So it's just that mixed up with blades, and then him getting in your face, doing that epileptic seizure shit with those cancels. You're like, yo, I can't dash cancel like he does. I tell him his mine goes like it makes this noise. It's like his just goes sounds like white noise. And you just see Cabal shaking and shit, and you're like, "Yo, give him sugar or something." I think he's got a diabetic fit or something.
Oh man! Speaking of Rio, actually, what are some of your predictions for MK9 this weekend at Winter Brawl?
Well, I know Rio. Actually, it's up in the air. A lot of top players have been, out testing and working on Injustice. So Rio is probably pretty freaking tired right now. I think he just got back this weekend. I would predict from the way things look as far as the turnout thus far, I would say Rio's probably going to take it again. I hope he doesn't do like he did last time and win them all.
Yeah.
I mean, as an MK2 player, it hurt to take 4th.
Yeah.
And to have Rio win that MK3, the tag, and the win MK9. I was like, man, you won every Mortal Kombat 9 event we had. And if there was more, he probably would have won more. They were going to do, I think, Deadly Alliance.
Oh, really? Wow.
Exception, but they ran out of time. So he would have won that too, probably.
Is Rio one of the guys that's helping out with Injustice?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that they've called in to give inputs. They've gone across, and this is the one thing where, like I said, where NRS goes above and beyond. They didn't just say, well, let's go grab the best Mortal Kombat 9 guys.
Right.
They grabbed Capcom guys. They grabbed Marvel guys.
Mm-hmm.
They grabbed Persona 4 guys. They grabbed well-diverse players all in a bunch of games, Tekken guys, and they got all of their inputs put in.
Right, and it definitely shows. I mean, just the fact that they're giving the option for Capcom-style inputs and things like that. I mean, this game,
Yeah,
it
I have
definitely bridge the
I
gap.
have a feeling this game will bridge the gap between the Marvel MK rivalries that have been over the years. Is it going to solidify it? I don't know about that. I mean, only time will tell. All it takes is one broken thing to wreck a game. But I definitely see a lot of unhappy Mortal Kombat players, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the Capcom invasion is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And, a lot of those players that were top tier Mortal Kombat guys, got to remember, there ain't no block button. You better learn how to stop those cross-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, like Will was saying, a lot of the generation is the new generation. They're not old school players. They were born and raised on MKDC. So it's like they don't know what it is to do a cross-up, I mean, people don't even realize Mortal Kombat 1, there wasn't even a cross-up.
Yeah.
Basically, you jumped over them. That was it. You landed that way, until MK2 did they start doing the cross-up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that, the fact of defending against cross-ups, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I definitely think the game's going to do well. I think a lot of non-fighting game players are going to play it casually. Obviously, DC fans. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big DC guy, but I will say this: I am using Aquaman.
Nice.
I gotta use him just for the sake that everybody's always like he's ass, and being that I use Baraka in Mortal 9 and they've said that he was ass, and I've proven he wasn't total ass as many other people. So I'm gonna go with him. I think they mentioned Blue Beetle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe they mentioned him. I think so. If they do Blue Beetle, I actually had to look him up. And I actually came across an episode of, I guess, what is the Superman show? Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
I guess where he made an appearance on that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I kind of dig him. But then again, I don't know. Who's this gold dude that, he's, kind of buddies with?
Booster Gold?
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. I like him, though.
Yeah, he is a dickhead.
Did you see the episode of Smallville I'm talking about with him?
Yeah, I know what episode you're talking about.
Is that the dude that, did you ever see the ice skating movie with Will Ferrell?
Blades of Glory?
The one,
Blades
the
of
bad
Glory.
guy, the bad guy in Blades of Glory. Is that him?
No. It looks like him, but it's not.
He's a cool dick. I like him.
Yeah.
If he's in there, I might use him too. I just want to use obnoxious characters. I don't want to use the Batmans and the Supermans and everybody's already going Flash and Green Lantern and Batman and Superman. I'm like, nah. And like I said, I'll never use Wonder Woman. I don't like, I've never liked girls in fighting games, so I'll never use them. But I think Aquaman's going to be my main, and if Blue Beetle is in it, I'm going to be giving him a shot too. So those are going to be my two guys, and then who knows? Like I said, I could find out that they're so horrendous that I'm forced to change. I won't use Batman though.
Everyone's gonna be using Batman, so
Everyone.
Batman, and I will not use Superman.
yeah.
Those two, I can't bring myself to use. I would use. I mean, I'll even use Lex before I use them.
Yeah, I'm excited for Lex.
I don't know. You know what? Something about Lex Luthor that I just can't. I look at him in the mech suit and I'm like, he looks like a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I like the old Superman. Like he had nothing. He was just a dude in a suit. He was like a skinny version of Kingpin.
Mm.
You know, that's exactly what he was. He was just and who was it? Gene Hackman played him actually in the old movies. You know, and I just like he had that smug like, you know, you ain't shit, but you know what? You can't touch me. All right, Superman, you could kick my ass, but I got kryptonite. Now what you gonna do? You know, and that was he was more like a, you know, I don't want to say a trickster, but he was more like he was, you know, he pulled, you know, he pulled shady shit on you. You know, now all of a sudden, like in the comic book world, they're like, well, yeah, he built this super robot suit, and you know, it was in the other DC one too. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just, I just don't. I'd rather see him just as a regular dude and like have like depending on who you fought against, you know, had the ability to pull out like things that would be like their weaknesses. Yeah, I just don't know.
Interesting concept.
I don't know what their weakness. You know, I mean, obviously we know like Superman, it would be kryptonite. I don't know, an hourglass or some shit that he can smash that'll force the Flash not to be able to dash around as fast. You know, and then he can get in, you know, some kind of wacky combos.
Batman's weakest to be family movies.
Oh man, be very cool.
What?
So anyway, we're running a little bit low on time here, but before we sign off, James, could you actually tell people listening a little bit about the On Blast show?
Okay, the On Blast show is on Tuesday nights at on twitch.tv/the On Blast show. It was generally started as a way to deal with issues of the Mortal Kombat community and try and resolve differences without, you know, things going to levels of stupidity. It's had its good moments, it's had its bad moments. Also, one of the things that I pride in is because of my background of working with the game. I've made the contacts of having, you know, guest characters. Like, for example, I had Cary Tagawa on a couple of weeks ago. I had Cyrex and Sector from the Legacy series on. I've had all the original Mortal Kombat cast on. Fight choreographer for the Legacy, the Legacy web episode. Most recently, I got a confirmation from Talissa Soto. She'll be coming on soon. And you know, basically, like I said, it's a way for everybody to air out their dirty laundry. I mean, you could call it the, you know, some people want to call it the Jerry Springer / Howard Stern. Nothing gets censored, you know. I mean, everybody's allowed to speak their mind. I tell everybody the same thing. If you want your 15 minutes of fame to make yourself look like an asshole, go right ahead. You can do that. But you know, the main goal of it now is expanded to trying to help unite the fighting game community and just help it grow. I've had, you know, like I said, various guests, you know, from anybody from, it don't matter whether it's one of you guys, if it's an actor. I don't look at the guests as, well, this guy is a celebrity, so let me get him, and this guy's a nobody, so, you know, I leave the mic open, basically. Anybody wants to vent out anything, it's the place I want you to come. You can hit us up on Twitch at the On Blast Show. You can also hit me up at JamesMK on Twitter. You can hit up my co-host Dark Natus at Dark Natus 007 on Twitter, or you can just come to the page, or you can go to YouTube if you want to check out the old archives of the last 30 some odd episodes, which is obviously youtube.com/The On Blast Show 2012. And, you know, like I said, it's just somewhere where if you have an issue, I don't care. You know, it used to be directly related to Mortal Kombat, but if, you know, two Smash players got beef with each other and they want to get it out, you know, in the open, they're more than welcome to hit me up. Hit me up on Skype. It's the same thing, JamesMK. You know, I'm not a hidey type of guy. I mean, I give you any opportunity that you want. There's an outlet, somehow you can reach me. You know, if you Twitter it, you can find probably even my home phone number. I don't care. You know, at the end of the day, I have no secrets. I tell everybody the same thing. Whatever it takes to make the community grow and unite the community as one, that's basically what the show's about.
Awesome. And is any last shout outs you want to give?
Let me thank you guys. You know, it's actually really cool to get on other people's podcasts. Um, you know, obviously Dark Natives, the MK community, the whole community, the whole fighting game community in general, Mr. Tom Brady, who we all love. Sometimes we love to hate, but we all love him anyway. Perfect Legend, CD Jr., my man Rio, all the OBS members out there like Will Parker. And I guess Mike and Nadal, you guys are now OBS members as well. So,
awesome.
And hit me up with. Are you guys all going to be at WB?
Yes. Well, yeah, me and Mike are.
So hit me up a little bit later, or text me later and give me your shirt sizes. I'll get you guys shirts there.
Awesome.
And just like I said, shout out to everybody in the community. Let's want to see this community grow and hopefully get to the point of NASCAR sponsorship where you're walking around with Tide and Home Depot on your back and people are getting paid.
Hopefully next time we're doing this interview as part of ESPN.
Hey, you know what? It can happen, but it's got a lot of work involved.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yo, one thing.
Yeah.
Fighting games need the NBA and the NBC theme. Just putting that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Evo would just be the hypest shit ever. Just
epic.
And Michael Jordan is chilling, just with a boombox outside. But another thing, James, 2 S's in your name. Why is that?
Okay. The reasoning there's 2 S's. First of all, when I joke around with people, I tell them it stands for super stud. But in reality, what it was when I was working on the game, it was just JamesMK. But back in the day, IRC, people used to make bots to take over their rooms so they could keep the rooms ran by them. Well, somebody decided to make a JamesMK bot with 1 S, and they cloned me. And I could never get it out of the room, so whenever you would sign on, it would say, sorry, your name's used. You need to make a new name. So I just added the other S. And unfortunately, that's as simple as it was. And then it's just stuck ever since. And it's funny because I could probably take it back, but it's been, 15 years now. So I was just like, you know what? Just leave it, and I'll just tell everybody it's super stud.
There you go. Just roll with it. But
right.
Seriously, James, thank you so much for taking the time. I had a blast hanging out and talking.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem, guys. I will see you guys at Winter Brawl, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. See you then.
Yeah, man. You will.
Take it easy.
Yo.
Okay, so
that was awesome.
That was very awesome. Big shout out to JamesMK for hanging with us for a couple hours. That was definitely one of the most fun fighting game talks I've had.
Yeah, it could have went on a lot longer if needed.
I know. If I did not have work tomorrow, this would probably be a 5-hour podcast.
Serious.
But seriously, thank you guys for tuning into this brand new installment of the Sodium Podium. Definitely check for regular episodes every week, and we're going to be looking to get a lot of cool guests from all over the FGC. And yeah, this is Mike.
This is Will.
This is Natal.
And this is Fight Your Rival with the Sodium Podium. And remember, guys, keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
Peace.